welcome to my Arcanist build video. I'm gonna show you what sets I picked for this type of playstyle. It's more like a ranged version. It feels like Magicka, but stacks more stamina. I don't know the class word. Character screen, we are Orc. I prefer Orc here since sustain seems to be a little bit easier when you are stacking maximum stamina. So some skills that depend on your highest resource, and it's just better for me to stack stamina. That's why I also went with Orc. You get some spell damage, you get some weapon damage, you get HP, you get stamina, you get speed, you get healing when you attack, so overall Orc is great. Then we get 30 points in HP. Two of our burst heals scale of maximum health. So we want to reach a decent amount of HP. We do run Death Dealer's Feat on that build, so our maximum HP is around 35k, 34k. 34 points into stamina, because that buffs our damage, buffs our healing, also sustain. With a higher maximum resource pool is easier. You can, if you want, stack everything into health. Just make sure that stamina is always a little bit more than Magicka. The Mondos we are running is the Atronach Mondos. I prefer having more Magicka sustain because a lot of defensive skills they cost Magicka, so I went with the Atronach Mondos. If you're fine with sustain, go with the damage one like Warrior or Lover, depending on your playstyle. Barfoot, Smog, Beerhaunch, we need the HP, we need the Magicka and stamina recovery, so overall a great choice here. You can also run Jewels of Misrule. They do give a little bit less stats, but really not much less, and are much cheaper. Stage 3 Vampire for the Undeath passive, which is huge amount of mitigation when you drop low. If you're not a vamp, it's playable, but you'll miss out on a lot of mitigation. Yeah. Then we got our potions, just normal tripods. You can also use the heroism potions, which will give minor heroism, stamina and Magicka, but they're much more expensive, so here I'm with the normal tripods. And backbar we have the escapist poison. They give you 4.4 seconds of CC immunity when they proc, and the target gets immobilized. Alright, coming to our armor set. We have one 5-piece always up, that's why we also don't have a monster set here, and the 5-piece is Ravager. Ravager is quite of an old set. It was used in the past quite a lot until they changed it. Now it's mainly useless. Only one class can really utilize this, which is Arcanist. Basically, when we attempt to reduce the target's physical resistance, like apply, for example, major or minor breach, we get 146k weapon and spell damage, and this can stack up to 4 times. And Arcanist has the armor buff, Croxweaver armor, and basically every time we take damage, we apply minor breach to the target, and I don't see any type of cooldown on the apply that you, well, on the minor breach. So every time you take damage, you apply minor breach, and you attempt to reduce the enemy's armor, and this will proc Ravager. Basically, when you're in a fight and you take damage, this is always up. Kinda like the old Fury, so kinda nice to have. Gives you a lot of weapon damage. We got the heavy chest, heavy head, heavy legs, and heavy boots, and we got one time on the jewelry, so we are not in like 5 heavy or whatever. Yeah, we are running, let's see, IT 3 reinforced and 1 impen, all prismatic enchant. This is the setup for Ravager. As you already saw, Rallying Cry for the backbar, 1 jewelry, 2 times on the armor and the sword and board. We got sturdy here, well fitted here, sturdy here, and powered to buff our healing more, because the healing on Arcanist is not that mega great, and we want to push it as much as we can. Obviously, prismatic engine on the body. Here we got the infused weapon spell damage with the additional stamina recovery, same as the ravaging necklace, and maximum stamina on the shield. Then our mythic, as I already said, Death Dealer's Feet, also an infused with the weapon spell damage plus the additional stamina recovery. Death Dealer's Feet gives you a lot of stats, and it's just overall really, for me personally, one of my favorite mythics to use. You don't get a snare, and it's just flat out stats, and that's mega. And since we have now an option to run arena weapon front bar, we are using the Master's Perfected Inferno stuff. Also, because we need a stun, the class stun of Arcanist is pretty damn good. But I just prefer Master Inferno here because you can shoot them back and then you kinda can align it good with your tentacles, so I just prefer it. We are running it in Sharpened with the increased weapon and spell damage enchant. Yeah. In general, on that setup, you reach up to, like solo buff without continuous attack, let's say in a duel or in a battleground without anyone providing buff sets, you reach 7,100 weapon and spell damage, which is pretty high, and I was hitting tentacles between like 8 and 9k, obviously often lower, but this is like the maximum was 9k so far. Skills, front bar, I got the Writhing Rune Blades, but you can also use the other one. I just thought this is more damage focused because you get increased crit chance. But the other one that is an AoE at the last hit, also fine. Then we got Tentacular Dread. This is more like our burst skill. Usually I try to use it when we have 3 crocs for the maximum burst potential, but you can also use, if you don't have any crocs or anything, it still does okay-ish damage. And you apply the Abyssal Ink debuff, which can increase your damage done to other people by up to 11% at full crocs. Yeah. Then we got Flame Clench as our stun. It applies a little bit of damage, but not really much, and mainly used for the knockback and then into the tentacle. Camo Hunter for our major savagery and prophecy. Also, we get more weapon and spell damage on our front bar for simply having it slotted, so it's nice to have. Elemental Sooth for major breach. And you apply like all 3 status effects, and Arcanist has a passive that buffs the damage of status effects, so this is really strong. Offensive ult, Tide King's Gaze. Kinda shitty ult, to be honest. Like, it's mega slow. The moment your target runs, it doesn't hit anymore. Also, when you ult and then you flame clench, then it has to like follow the knockback. Kinda weird. I don't know what else to put, so I just used Tide's King Gaze. Backbar, we got Imperious Rune Ward. This is the bread and butter defensive skill. Huge shield for 1 second, and then a smaller one for another 5 seconds. And you heal yourself for each crocs you have. Like, you consume crocs and then you heal based on your HP. So this is our first HP scaling defensive skill. I don't know why they had to do it. HP based heals are kinda shitty. Like, I know I run 50k HP Warden with Polar Wind and I abuse the shit out of it, but I don't know why we have to go with those. Maybe they could make it like max Magicka and HP, but that's maybe a topic for something else, maybe on the Discord. Link is in the description. Then we got Rune God of Freedom, which is also a health-based heal. Like, you can pre-apply it, and the moment you drop below 50% HP and you get damaged, then the minor protection you get from it, it gets consumed and you heal. Plus you gain 3k armor plus crowd control immunity. Then we got this skill. Yeah, you get major brutality and sorcery at all times, even on your front bar for just having a back bar. Plus you restore 600 magic and stamina, plus generate a crocs when you deal damage with the class skill, so either Rune Blades or Tentacles. Then Resolving Vigor, the usual healing over time skill, plus we get Minor Resolve. You also get Minor Resolve here from Rune God of Freedom, but Rune God of Freedom also applies it AoE to allies, which is kind of nice. Then we got the Crux Weaver Armor, our source of major resolve, plus generating a Crux up to once every 5 seconds, plus the Minor Breach proccing Ravager. Defensive ult is the big shield ult. You can also go with a shield wall. Is a nice option as well, but for me personally, I prefer this more because, well, basically you're trying to play an Arcanist, right? You can obviously replace everything with class skills and slap full procs on that shit and do really a lot of DPS, but that you can play on literally every other class as well. So fuck it. Oh, those we also need. Yeah, coming champion points. We got Ironclad, Fuchs Mending, Deadly Aim, and Mastered Arms, Pain's Refuge, Sustained by Suffering, Relentlessness, and Bastion. That's about the build. So far, it's kind of fun to play. I really like Tentacles, it's just a great skill. It reminds me of one of the Bloodborne skills or bosses. So yeah, have fun with that and enjoy.